everyone, and welcome back to this week's Wallyford Living Room Bitesize for Kids. This week we're going to be talking about treasure. Nope, I'm not going to be talking about pirates, but we are going to be thinking about something that's really precious and really valuable. Now, I have a treasure box here that I like to keep some of my own precious treasures in, things that I think are really valuable. Would you like to see some of them? Okay, let's have a look. One of the treasures in my treasure box is this pearl bracelet that my granny gave me whenever I was much younger. It's not a very expensive bracelet, there's no diamonds or rubies on it, but it's special and I think of it as a treasure because it reminds me of my granny. Another thing in my treasure box is a piece of blue sea glass that I picked up on the beach during lockdown, and that reminds me of a time when things were tricky, but whenever I was able to find something beautiful during that time. And the last thing that I have to show you from my treasure box is some money. Now, this money isn't worth anything. It's not gold or silver, it's not hundreds and thousands of pounds, but it's special to me because it's a coin that I made whenever I went on a family trip to Disneyland, and it reminds me of a really happy holiday that we had. Did you know that the Bible tells us that Jesus said that God's kingdom was like a special treasure, was like something that was really precious? In the book of Matthew, it tells us that Jesus says that the kingdom of heaven is like a treasure that was hidden in a field. When a man found it, he was so excited that he ran and instantly sold absolutely everything that he had so that he could buy the field and have the treasure that was in it. Jesus also said that God's kingdom is like a man who was looking for precious pearls, a bit like the one on my bracelet, except much more valuable. Whenever the man found a pearl that was worth a lot of money, he went and he sold his everything that he had so that he would be able to have that pearl. Now, none of the treasures in my treasure box were worth very much, were they? They maybe meant something special to me because they were a nice memory or they reminded me of someone in my family that I love. But I would never have spent everything that I had to go and buy a piece of sea glass, would I? I would never have sold all that I have to be able to get this coin. So for the men in the story to do that, they had to know that the treasure was worth much, much more than anything else that they could possibly imagine. They knew that the treasure and the pearl were the best things that they could ever possibly have. So that must mean that God's kingdom is the best thing that we can possibly have. It must mean that God's kingdom is really precious and really valuable. And you know it is. It means that if we're part of God's kingdom, we live under God's rules and we live with Jesus, obeying Him and following Him. It means that we get to be with God who made us and who loves us so much. And we get to live with Him forever and ever for all of eternity in this beautiful place. Doesn't that sound really incredible? Doesn't that sound amazing? Does that sound like something you would want to have? Well, if you're a Christian, then you will get to be a part of God's kingdom. You will get to experience that and to have that really special treasure of being a part of the kingdom of heaven. Last week, Carol talked a bit about what it means to become a Christian and how that can change your life. And so if you've got some questions or you're not sure, then you can go back and have another look at that video and maybe that will help out a bit. I hope that you've enjoyed hearing about this amazing treasure today. And I hope that you're going to come back and join us again next week for another bite-sized session where we'll be talking about another one of the stories of Jesus.